Yo, what's up? My name is Cryangel, and today I'm gonna be teaching y'all how to mix your beats. All right, so this is what it sounds like before it's mixed. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound like good. So this is what it sounds like after it's been mixed here. All right, so we're gonna get into it. So this is my mixing process here, okay? Number one, put effects on the melody. Number two, after that, you're gonna mix the melody. After that, you're gonna put effects on the drums. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna mix the volumes of the drums. All right, so I'm gonna go reset all of these channels real quick and then we'll get into it. Okay, so there are some prerequisites I recommend. Number one, getting a good master preset. This is my master here. All it has is a stereo enhancer, an EQ, another EQ, Maximus, reverb, fresh air, which if you put fresh air on any master preset alongside the Fruity Soft Clipper, it'll sound perfect. Alongside car test, which we'll get to in a little bit. So this preset is based off of a Wint5 preset. And something I cannot recommend enough is to make preset banks and download preset banks. They are so important for making good music. Not only just plug-in presets, like this is my personal kit, which just has a ton of presets that I love to use all the time, right? But also mixing presets, which here are mine here, and then also some here. But if you don't know where to start, buy Wint5's 2K24, I think it's Starwind kit. I believe that's what it's called. Let me double check. Yeah, Starwind Stash Kit. It's absolutely perfect. It has all the drum sounds you need, and it also has a bunch of mixing presets, which is kind of how I learned how to mix is off of these presets here. But yeah, this is my master preset. I put that on, and I also use what's called buses. What that does is that you can take a bunch of mixer tracks and then run all, for example, with my default FOP, it's 19. That's how I set it up. You can take all 19 of them, route them through a melody bus, and then that bus will put effects on them or whatever. Then it gets put through the master. So I'm going to set that up here. How you do that, let me reset this real quick. How you do that is you just hold command, or if you're on Windows, hold control, select however many you want. Then you're going to come down here to this arrow, right click it, route to this track only. And then now you can see here with the little wires at the bottom, all of these go to here. And then this one, or all of them go to the bus, and the bus goes to the master. So what I put on my melody bus is I will take out the low end. I go to love filter and I drag this cut up here. And then I add Valhalla vintage verb. You are going to be seeing this plugin a lot in this video. It is absolutely perfect, but I only have it at like 5%. I'm going to go label that now. I also have a track dedicated to the 808 here. And then I have tracks 22 through 39 set up on another bus here, which just has reverb on it, about 5%, because I like a little bit of reverb on my drums. And I'll label this one drum bus as well. Okay, so the first step in mixing is to obviously route all your instruments, all your VSTs to a mixer track, and that's what I did here. Some people hold down control, select all of them, and then they hit command L or control L or command shift L or whatever. I don't do that because I kind of mix as I go, but if it helps, it helps. So for number one, which is put effects on the melody, I broke it down into a couple other steps, which is number one, add a preset or add reverb. Step number two, which is to EQ out all the frequencies you don't like. This one's going to be a little bit tricky if you don't have the ear for it, but it's all right. You know, just practice and you'll get it. Number 3 is to add other effects. As you can see here, 1B and 1C can be interchangeable. Sometimes I like to add something like phaser or flangus before the EQ. Sometimes I like to add it after. It just comes up to, it's very situational. So we're starting off with the reverse piano. Those who are curious would sound something like that. Those who are curious, the preset is reflected piano in Synology. I just changed up the timings here a little bit. And the 1/8, 1/2, and 1/2. I think it's default to all 1/8. But I don't know. I don't want to mess with it too much. This is what it sounds like unmixed. You get the gist. Okay. So we're going to start off. I like to go here. We're just going to add a preset. I have this one called Heavenly Acoustic Piano. This is what it sounds like now. A lot better already, but you know, we can tweak this a little bit. This is what the preset looks like. I don't really like the flanger or the EQ, so I'm gonna turn those off. Honestly, I'm just gonna get rid of them. There's some frequencies I don't really like, so I'm gonna add an EQ. If there's too much of this lower frequency, already sounds a lot cleaner. I'm gonna turn up the stereo separation just a little bit. All right, I think that's good enough. Moving on to the next piano, which is Piano Memories in Synology. I'm gonna start again with the preset. This is my favorite one. Has an EQ and Valhalla Supermassive. This is what it sounds like now. It just adds a little bit of space to it. It can do with some more reverb, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. There's some really weird frequencies in here. As you can hear, there's a lot of high end, which is super harsh. So I'm gonna turn that down. So honestly, still a lot of high end, so I'm gonna turn it down some more. I'll use my scroll wheel to adjust how dramatic this curve is here. You might be asking, why don't I just cut out the high end? Because if you know, you can go to the EQ and then just do this, and it just completely cuts out a harsh cut. But I don't do that because I still want a little bit of high end, right? I don't want this much, but I still want a little bit. So I'm just gonna drag down some of these frequencies here. Already sounds a lot better. Okay, number 3, which is an E piano, which is the Fly Model 5 in Lounge Lizard. I'm gonna use this preset again, which has an EQ and Valhalla Supermassive because it's just so good. Already sounds a lot better, a lot more atmospheric. But specifically with these Rhodes pianos, like this one and Soft EP2 in Synology, I like to cut out these frequencies right here because it's, especially with these high end, you can hear them right there. Right there. It's just a little bit too much, so I'm gonna cut down a little bit there. Yeah, sounds a lot better already. Okay. All right, moving on to the next one, which is another E piano. This one is Modern Hybrid from Lounge Lizard. It sounds like this. I'm gonna go back to this preset here. Honestly, that's just perfect. We don't even need to change that one. All right, for the next one, this one's gonna be a little bit more unique and experimental. So I don't know how much you can learn from this. it is a copy of the B-Fly Model 5 in Lounge Lizard. As you can see here, this preset is crazy. It has Flangus, has Vocodex, which is a goated plugin, bro. I saw this on YouTube from this guy called Snake, or it's something like Snake or something like that. And it's just so cool sounding. It just completely changes the sound of it. Let's do a little before and after. Hold on. This is before. This is after. Like, just listen how crazy that is. And then I added reverb. That's another thing I've been experimenting a lot with, which is this neural amp modeler. It is a guitar amp, and I've been adding it to a bunch of stuff, and it just creates this really gritty, distorted, and interesting sounding texture. This one is the Tim R Magnatone Super 59 MKII bridge cloned one, bro. It is so good. It's free, and they have tons of presets online. It's a really good community for it. It's super sick. I have this delay, more reverb on it. I have this shaper box preset here. EQ, EQ, EQ. This is what it sounds like. It's just supposed to be like some cool background texture. I named it waves crashing texture because it kind of sounds like waves crashing on a beach, especially with this volume preset and shaper box. Moving on to the guitar. We're gonna start with some reverb. Sounds pretty good already. I feel like some delay would be cool on this. Yep. When I'm mixing my stuff, you can see in the top left, I think the OBS cuts it off, but when you're mixing stuff like this, it'll have like a mix level. I always try to keep mine in multiples of 5, or like if it's 1/3, it'll be like 33. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit OCD, but I feel like it just my mixes can be a lot more consistent if I do that. I feel like there's way too much low end, and honestly a lot of high end, so we'll drop that down as well. We're gonna turn up the stereo separation a little bit. Sounds like this compared to. It's supposed to be like a background element, so that's why I cut the low and high. That is the Guitar Hero preset from RB's Myth Purity Bank. All right, onto the bells. This one is Dem Bells from Xenology. Go back. We're gonna add a little bit of reverb. All right, I'm gonna cut a little bit of this 5 hertz here. Boost a little bit of the highs. I really want these bells to be kind of bright. Yeah. Now on to the main lead. This is the Tiny Lead 2 preset in RB's Psychic Purity Bank. Like I said, I've really been experimenting with this neural amp modeler. So I'm going to use one of my guitar presets here, which sounds like this when I add it. Right, it's just super, I'm going to turn the delay down a little bit. It's just super distorted and grit, it just creates a crazy texture. All right, onto the distorted guitar, which is Disc Guitar 2 from Xenology. Okay, we're gonna use this distorted guitar preset, which has Flangus, EQ, Valhalla Vintage Verb, delay, and then more EQ. Alright, there are some weird. I want to cut the highs just a little bit. I want to cut the lows because it's supposed to be like a background instrument. I don't want there to be too high. And then we're gonna cut the highs a little bit. Okay, the wah guitar here, which has the same pattern as the distorted guitar, as you can see here. It's just the wah guitar is down an octave while the distorted guitar is up an octave. I'm going to use one of my presets, Flangus, Valhalla Vintage Verb, that amp with, I think this is the same preset as the electric piano, delay, reverb, EQ, and then another EQ. That's perfect. The wah guitar is OD wah in purity. All right, moving on to the strings, which is axe strings staccato from Xenology. We're gonna add reverb. Then we're gonna add an EQ here. Kind of cut out the mid to high mid frequencies a little bit. And then I want to boost the highs here. Then I just added a little bit of delay here. Turn the input volume down. Change this to 2. If you hover over this, it's gonna say time something colon 00. I set it to 2 colon 00. And yeah. Moving on, we're going to the synth strings. Just gonna add a little bit of reverb, just like everything else. We're gonna cut some of that mid frequencies here. And boost the highs just a little bit. Yeah. This is the Phoenix strings preset from RB's Psychic Purity Bank. I low-key forgot when I was recording to say this, but that pattern for the synth strings is hella inspired by my homie Kareem XO. He also goes by I'll Be Having Fun on TikTok, so shout out him. Moving on to the actual strings, we have Drama Strings SRX from Xenology. I'm just gonna use this. This isn't in his kit. I don't know why. When I transferred over from Windows to Mac, somehow my preset got in there, but this is the preset I use for the drama strings, which has an EQ, chorus, supermassive, and then stereo enhancer. Sounds like this. And then the last one, which is the accent lead, which is, wow, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but it's this lead from RB's Myth Purity Bank. I just put on a guitar preset, which is the same one as the main lead here. Sounds like this. Turn the delay down here as well. Okay, now that we're done with step 1, which is to put effects on the melodies, now we're gonna mix the volumes in the melody, which starts with putting the master into mono, which means going over to this knob here and dragging it all the way to the right. Solo out an instrument and mix its volume. And then after that, we're going to add each instrument one by one while mixing its volume. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. It's honestly a little bit loud, so we're going to turn it down. Okay, now we're going to add an instrument here, and then we're going to hit play and then mess with this instrument's volume here, which I think is actually perfect as is. Now we're going to add another one and mess with its volume. And then we're just going to keep going and keep going. So this is the second EQ piano. This is that waves crashing texture. Now the guitar. Now the bells. All right, now the main lead. I'm gonna leave this one a little bit loud because, you know, it is the main lead, so it should be like the main thing. Okay, moving on to the distorted guitar. All right, now the wah guitar. Now the spiccato strings. All right, now the synth strings. Now the main strings. All right, now finally the accent lead. Okay, I think these volumes are pretty well mixed, but there's always something I check before I consider step one done, is you click onto the melody bus and you're gonna look over here at this channel here. And I always like to make sure that the volume is between 3 and 9. As you can see here, it's at like the bottom of 9, so we're gonna boost it by like 10%. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna take out a mono, and this is what it sounds like. A lot better from where it started. All right, moving on now, which is to put effects on the drums. That means either put EQ or reverb or delay. So we're gonna start with the 808. For this one, I like to use Wint5's. I use 3 presets here. I'll either use the fast dist 808 mix 1, mix 2, or the sub mix 1. I think that one's good there. The clap, which is fine as is. I'm gonna EQ this hi-hat. I think there's too much like low end and also too much high end. Yeah. I'm gonna cut more low end off that. Onto the snare, which I think is fine. And the other snare, which is fine as well. Okay. The next one, which is the open hat. On my open hats, I like to use Wint5's crash preset here, which is just delay and then reverb. Chant. On my chants, I like to use Wint5's chant presence mix. Number 28, which is the crash. I'm going to use the crash preset. All right, open hat 2. I'm just going to use his crash preset. All right. Yep. Okay. So that's step 3. It's pretty short. And then now into step 4, which is to mix the volumes of the drums. On my master, you can see car test is here. And now we're going to get to it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to mute all the drums. Just like how we mixed the melodies, how we soloed one out, and then we added one and added one and added one. We're going to do the same here with the drums. Car test is a really good plugin because it emulates what it sounds like in the car. If you were listening to your mix in the car, You know, if it sounds good in the car, it's gonna sound good pretty much anywhere. So yeah, we're gonna turn off all the drums. I like to mix the drums first and then go to the 808. So that's what I'm gonna do here. All right, so we're gonna start with the clap. All right, now that we're done with the drums, we're going to add the 808. All right, perfect. This is the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn the drums down just a little bit. In my beats, I like to have the melody be the main focus and the drums kind of just be like a background element almost. So about 85%. Now, yeah, once you do all those steps, you should have a really good mix. Alrighty, thank y'all so much for watching. This one was a lot. You know, I'm still kind of getting my footing when it comes to making these videos. I'm not really great at kind of off the dome thinking, so the videos are super rambly, but I appreciate the support on the last one. I've gotten a couple more requests. I've gotten a request for music theory. So I'm going to do a music theory video. And I've also gotten a request to do like subscribe, like fixing my followers' beats or reacting to my followers' beats. So if y'all want that, hit me up on Core, bro. Send me your FLP that you would want me to kind of like review or fix a little bit. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.